Hey guys, Adam here.
And Andrew.
And we're coming to you with our second installment for These Enthusiasts Really Love Their Coasters. We had some great responses after our first one. A lot of people saying they really liked it and got to know Brianna's story really well, which had some great elements to it. So we're really excited about that, loving hearing that people really enjoyed it. And we've got a lot more coming in the pipe here. We've talked to a number of different people. Other people who heard the episode reached out to us and gave us great suggestions, so we'll have a lot more of these coming down the road. Really love the idea of continuing on with this installment. Thinking about last year, Bud, one of my favorite episodes was the Finally 54 Inches one, and I really liked that episode. I think that was a really cool special moment from last year, and it makes me think of today's date for some reason. I don't know why.
Why?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? I forget. What is today's date?
5th?
Okay, 25th of what month?
March.
So what does that make that numerically?
The 25th of March.
Yeah, but what month is March?
3rd.
So when you put the month and the day together, what do we have today? What is it?
3/25.
Isn't that Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Today is Fury Day. So happy Fury Day, my Roo. Carowinds did a post today about that, so I thought that was kind of cool timing. And speaking of cool timing, on our episode for today, we talked to McLain, who we met recently, who's going to give his story about marathoning a coaster. We were really excited to talk to him, and I think it provides a great contrast to our first minisode with These Enthusiasts Really Love Their Coasters, because his story is very different than Brianna's story, and that's what I think is going to be really interesting, is hearing how different these stories are. So, you ready to take a listen?
Yeah, let's hear it.
We are so happy to welcome our special guest, McLain Waddell, to the show. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Our pleasure. So before we get into the important part of the interview, I was wondering if you could just take us through your story about how you really got into coasters and theme parks, heading how far back we need to go.
Gosh, I was always really into theme parks and really enjoyed it. Actually, my parents still live about a mile down the street from Carowinds.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up in a house very, very close. Thunder Road, Afterburner, when it was Top Gun, when it first opened, that was kind of my jam and what I really enjoyed. Took a little break after high school, went to college in Florida, and actually didn't ride a ton of roller coasters, even though I was close to a lot there in Florida, actually in Orlando. Mm-hmm. Moved back up after college, really wasn't extremely gung-ho on coasters, even though I'd kind of grown up on them. But first off, Intimidator opened in 2010, and I'm like, okay, gosh, record-breaking coaster right here in the backyard. Got to do something, at least rode it. Loved the coaster. Didn't really spark my interest quite as much as what Fury has. So I had season passes, went occasionally, maybe 1 to 5 times a year. And then Fury opened. I'm like, again, okay, gosh, I've got to figure it out. I've got to ride it. It's a world-breaking coaster. Got to give it a shot. So after I rode it the first time, I kind of got the first adrenaline pump of what Fury was for me. And I ride it for a lot of different reasons, but mainly it's really calming and therapeutic for me, quite honestly, to a strange degree. And really, from that first time of riding Fury, it was like no other coaster ever. And almost, I tell my friends and relatives, it's almost like a medicine to me from anxiety and whatever else. I go to work, have a long day at work, and it's kind of like my drink after work. So since then, since 2015, it's definitely been an uphill, more and more every year. Over 100 rides the first year, over 1,000 the second, over 2,000 the last 2 years. It's just kind of never-ending for me.
So take us through that first ride. First of all, before we get to the first ride, is this something that you were following in that year before with the development? Was this something that the anticipation was really being built up more and more and more as you went?
As much as I'd like to say yes, really no, not at all. It wasn't really even on my radar at all. Really, after the first ride is what got me into it. The first ride was actually kind of unique for me because I loved it. It was great, but of course we know things get lost all the time. I lost my car keys on the very first.
Oh no!
Couldn't drive away from the park. Couldn't leave. So I was kind of stuck there to ride it a few more times. And I loved it. Luckily, my mom lives close enough and was able to bring some keys up in the next few hours. But it definitely was a great ride. I didn't want to stop even after, gosh, I lost one of the most important things on the trip.
Wow. It's a memorable first ride, certainly to say the least. But describe that first ride. What was the feeling when you were done with it? What was your immediate reaction after that first time?
Oddly enough, kind of long story of why Fury is so great to me. Got into a bad accident in 2003, the year of high school. Actually ended up with a little bit of brain damage, or traumatic brain injury. So I'm living with that traumatic brain injury. And throughout the years since '03, they tried different medications, different things to calm me down. Struggling with anxiety, really just racing thoughts more than anything, mania, manic depression, whatever you want to call it. No drug really ever worked for me. Nothing ever really calmed me down enough or had that calming feeling. The very first time I heard Fury, it did that. For 3 minutes, I was probably the clearest minded that I'd been for years. I thought, oh my gosh, that's a crazy feeling. I wish I could bottle that up and take one of those every morning. Subsequently past that, the more rides, and then later on, near the end of the first year, I started adding a soundtrack. I've got a soundtrack that times the ride with different songs.
Oh, that's great.
It took that feeling to a next level. Definitely amazing.
How many times did you ride it?
So the very first year, I got 123 rides in, which was a ton. And most of the rides were without music. We're just there. Obviously before the roller coaster, one of my most therapeutic things was just sit down and listen to music, different types of music, loud music, certain music with beats. I thought, oh gosh, near the end of the year, what if I had headphones and rode the ride? And I actually ended up timing the drops of different songs with the drop of the ride near the end of the season. Definitely got me attached rather. From the end of the off season, after 123 rides, I'm like, gosh, I rode so many. I kept building the playlists and writing down what times I would be to start them and all of that. The second year, I'm like, gosh, I'm going to ride a ton this year. Got a whole new soundtrack. First year, Fun Picks which was great, so I could really track every ride. I rode 1,053 times. Again, I thought was crazy. Over 1,000 times. I'm never going to ride more than that. The crew started to get to know me really well in the second year.
Right.
See my face a lot. They coined the term the Fury Guy. Everybody at the park knows me as the Fury Guy. Came back third year. The team still really knew me. They had season pass fast lane, so I could kind of accelerate my rides a little bit. But I had 2020 in year 3.
Okay.
Which, again, kind of blew me away. Last year, same thing. Tons of rides. Great crew. Everybody knows me. So they really let me accelerate my rides. And every 1,000th ride, I'd get my own ride and all of that. But 2,138 times this 4th year. So 5,329 times total.
Is your total. Wow. All right, so we love the music element part to it because this little guy is a guitarist and we similarly really love loud music. So give us your top 5, top 10 favorite song that you ride Fury to. I'm excited to hear.
Oh, I don't know if I can have a top because I've got to like 230 tracks now. It's crazy. Most of them are trance or hip hop. The last few that I've added this last year that I can't wait to listen to. Like You Love Me by Conroe, and by Prismo. I Wish by William Back. A lot of songs that really not a lot of people would know of. The cool thing about them is it's a build-up of almost a trance or a hip-hop or a house track that has a really, really big crescendo, then a huge drop, and then really intense music for a good minute or two after that drop. So it's amazing to time that drop with the drop of the ride. It definitely takes the adrenaline out the window.
That's so cool to have that kind of timing to it. That's brilliant.
Absolutely.
Are there any coasters for you that even come close to giving you that same feeling, that same level of intensity? Or does nothing at this point even come close for you?
Really the same really calming level that it gives me, the therapeutic level, really nothing's there yet. obviously Millennium Forest at Cedar Point is very similar, has a lot of the same speeds, a lot of that. And I think it's the speed that really does it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, got a chance to ride Steel Vengeance this year at Cedar Point.
Oh, great.
Last year a few times. And I would say, as far as just a better overall coaster, yeah, Steel Vengeance probably takes it. Just because it's crazy layout, but nothing really has that same therapeutic feeling or same I've got to ride it a million times feeling that Fury does. The probably closest one is its little baby brother in Orlando, Mako, that opened a couple years ago. Great coaster, definitely a little smaller, not quite as fast, but
okay.
Just as intense in some ways.
Interesting that you say it's little brother, because when you first said that, what popped into my head was going north of the border at Canada's Wonderland, Baby Fury with Leviathan. So have you not been up there yet?
Absolutely, and Leviathan, I don't know why, it to me it didn't have that feeling. It was a big airtime machine, and I think the difference between Leviathan and Fury is Leviathan is a lot of ups and downs, but almost like say a little bit bigger behemoth, not quite as intense.
Agreed.
Fury with the ground twists and turns plus the speed. I think really just nailed it home for me.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant point. I rode Fury first and Leviathan second, and I wish it was the other way around because Leviathan was such a letdown after doing Fury. It's just not that same feeling of speed with the powerful turns as opposed to that big airtime. So even though it's a great coaster, I agree, it just can't compare.
Right.
So I would imagine for you, thinking about these type of coasters with what's going on in a certain park in southern Ohio, potentially in a year and a half, that you are keeping your fingers crossed for a potential Giga opening up at Kings Island and not a dive coaster like so many people are saying.
Gosh, absolutely. Everybody's been watching. I'm sure you've seen the Beast Unleashed.
Exactly.
And it's beautiful.
It is.
If there's something similar or something like that has the same speed, maybe faster, maybe taller than Fury, I think I'll be wasting a lot of gas heading up to Ohio.
Oh, definitely. That would be incredible. And just going higher and faster than Fury might make that just an incredible park. So everyone's keeping their fingers crossed.
Does it ever get old?
Oddly enough, no. I think one of the biggest things that makes it not get old for me is the soundtrack. I've got 265 different tracks now timed out. So even if it's not a different song every time, that's a different song every other time for all of my rides last year. So pretty neat. But even without the music, I think it would never get old just because of the feeling of calm and serenity it gives me, which is, I know, unique. Everybody thinks it would make them anxious. It definitely calms me down.
Oh, that's so great. And therapy that's just always there for you. So that's great. What are some of your thoughts about, and we chatted a little bit beforehand, Copperhead Strike for Carowinds as well as their river ride seemingly going as the map has shown and everyone's kind of confirming. So what do you think about those two things for the park?
I haven't been a recurring River Rapids fan since after high school, and I got back into coasters. It definitely was a big thing for me when I was younger. I would say that wouldn't be a big deal for me. It's sad to see it go. Winter warm-up, Lisa had a little kind of inkling into that it might be something that they're going to redo.
Yep.
But obviously using the words retire, who really knows? I think Copperhead Strike's going to be amazing. I don't think I'll ride it 2,000 times by any means, but at least a handful. Even just watching that test, I can't wait to get on it.
And speaking of that's interesting that you bring it up like that. Since you do Fury so many times, do you still occasionally go to all the coasters? Like, will you hit Hurler every once in a while, and Cyclone, and Gold Rusher, and all these others? Or are you pretty much always at Fury when you're there?
It's odd. I'm pretty much always at Fury. Last year I got 6 rides on the Intimidator, a handful on Windseeker, and then a few on Afterburn during Winterfest, and that was it. Really nothing else throughout the year. I always made it a point, at least once or twice a week. I usually visit 5 to 7 days out of the week, but at least once or twice just to walk around the whole park so I could take it all in and remember it. So definitely can't wait to be able to walk through the new Blue Ridge Junction and that kind of connecting between the go-kart and the water park area would be neat.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that you bring up the water park. That's one of the reasons why Carowinds eliminating their River Rapids ride isn't that big of a deal. They added so much to the water park. If you want to get wet, you can go to the water park, which is a really nice park. And otherwise, who wants to get wet and then have soaking wet shoes and go on coasters and other rides? It kind of makes it unpleasant. So, yeah, I don't think it's the worst news in that way. How do you feel overall about the future of Carowinds, your home park, and what they're going to be doing in the future?
Gosh, I can only have great things to say. After, in the last 2 years, getting to really meet the executives, Pat, the GM, and Lisa, and Steve, and really all of the, I guess, bigwigs from Carowinds.
Yep.
They got the best interest of the park in mind, and they're always going to be going forward. There's still a lot of land behind Camp Wilderness and kind of back there, so I can only imagine the next 5 to 10 years to continue to grow. It's Cedar Point's little baby, or Cedar Fair's little baby.
Yeah.
It'll be the Cedar Point of the South pretty soon.
Well, it really is incredible, the stories we hear. This will be our 4th year going there, and we hear stories about what it used to be like and the improvements. It's absolutely one of our favorite big chain parks. We love it there, so many things about it, and we just have always known it as a great park, including Winterfest, which was beautiful. We thought it looked incredible.
Right.
In that way, we really think it has just such a great future. I know Dinosaurs Alive, their days are numbered, and so it opens that plot of land too, as you mentioned, lots of opportunities for expansion. So who knows what will come there in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait. Like I said, it's probably just going to keep on pumping for the next 5 or 10 years.
Which is great. Hopefully someday soon we'll be able to meet you down at Carowinds and get in some rides, as we're only about 3 weeks away from it opening. So maybe a Fury ride as well as a Copperhead Strike ride we can get on with you at some point.
Absolutely. I would say just keep an eye out or shoot me a text or whatever. I'm usually at the park, firmly planted on Fury.
Well, we are completely fine with that as well, as we had one whole episode about Andrew's first time ever going on Fury, as he finally got on this past year. It is a ride that we can't wait to get back to. So, McLain, thanks so much for joining us. We're so happy that Fury is a great therapy for you, and that's what we think, that it can be a brilliant form of escapism that helps so many people, and we loved hearing that inspiring story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Our pleasure. So I love that. I thought that was great, hearing what Fury did for McLain and what it continues to do for him every time he rides it. Kind of neat, huh?
Yeah, that would be cool if it could happen to me.
And with your love of music, don't you think that's a cool part of it, is that he times the exact beat dropping when the drop actually happens?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. He must have taken a lot of time into that.
Oh yeah, so you have to know, and certainly he would know, exactly how many seconds it generally is coming off of the station, although sometimes you wait a little bit at the bottom, since it is one of the options to stop you if there's another train on the course. But I think he knows how to time it pretty well. So that's a kind of a neat element to it, and it shows the healing powers of coasters, that it can do so many things: escapism, helping, healing, being with family and friends, so many different things that coasters can do. So I love that fact, and really hope that McLain is feeling better and physically is doing well, and that he continues to love that coaster. So very cool to put Carowinds back in the spotlight yet again after Copperhead Strike opened up this past week to pretty positive reviews, and that McLain keeps riding Fury, and we hope to see him as we're going to get down to Carowinds here pretty soon. We'll have our next episode up in the next couple days, and it is a long one, so we might be splitting it up, I think, into 2 different episodes, kind of like our Slater Part 2 series. And we have another very special guest, which is why that went so long. So hope you enjoy that. We had a lot of fun recording it yesterday on Sunday. So thanks for joining us for this mini-sode. And again, if anyone else hears this who knows of someone who loves to marathon a particular coaster, or themselves likes to marathon a particular coaster, reach out to us. You can find us at Theme Park Fam on Twitter and at Theme Park Fam on Facebook, or you could email us at themeparkfamilies@gmail.com. So thanks so much again for joining us, and we'll have another episode up real soon. So see you later.
Bye.